Hey guys, welcome back. As the title says, this video is on why carry a knife. It's like most of my videos, it's based on a question that was asked at the store. One of the people that was accompanying one of the customers there was looking around and didn't understand why the person was there to buy a knife, and asked the question, why would anybody want to carry a knife? And I gave a couple of reasons there at the time, but I decided to put a quick video together to illustrate this. So stick around for a few, and I'm going to do a few illustrations of why it's a good idea to have a knife on you. Why I follow Gibbs rule number 9 and never leave home without one. As I've said before in other videos, and we'll probably say in other places in this video, one of the reasons why I almost never leave home without a knife now is, decades of raising children, my own children, grandchildren. Started out helping raise other people's discarded children when I was a teenager living on the streets a long time ago. So being able to provide for children, or anyone else for that matter, oftentimes means having some kind of cutting tool. And I've had a lot of them, but just the simple basic pocket knife, gentleman's knife, is the primary tool that's going to be showing up in this video, because all the others can be more specialized. This is just a simple cutting tool. And as you can see, where I'm at here today is the playground over here on the Riverwalk. And one of the reasons I got to where I would always have a knife on me was having different kids of different ages with me. And lunchtime would come, and just order something from Jimmy John's, or stop by Jimmy John's on the way here and get one of their 18-inch sandwiches, which are huge. And I can cut it up in different size portions for, the different age of kids. And everybody got, so rather than have it cut in half or whatever, try to get the people there at Jimmy John's to cut it up into the number of pieces I need. If I've got 5 kids, one sandwich, then I cut it up to sizes that suit them. And, that's kind of the idea here. See where and then that gives you an idea of one of the many reasons I carry a knife with me at almost all times, because I've been raising children since I was a child. And it's kind of hard to be responsible for someone else when you're not even prepared to be responsible for yourself. And then here you can see one sandwich cut up in different sizes for children's size portions or adult size portions, and everybody's happy. The ability to be self-reliant and independent comes with many benefits. And just carrying a knife is one of the elements of being independent and self-reliant. As a writer, I do a lot of writing. I make a lot of notes. And I'm one of those people who prefer the non-powered kinds of notebooks, like I buy here at Staples, and pens. And even with my pen fetish, I can find some affordable pens that are still all metal barrels, and that's kind of something that's important to me in my journalism, as I wander through this curious world of ours, journaling it, trying to understand parts of it that can be hard to understand. But also as, you know, a videographer and as a photographer, I do a lot of transferring of data. So you get SD cards, thumb drives, pens. You know, we have people that would tell us that we've progressed so far that we're now so civilized, we don't need to carry things like pocket knives. I beg to differ. We haven't become so civilized that people have stopped stealing things, which would negate the need for theft-proof packaging. So I think we need to remain civilized enough to use one of the most refined tools that's ever been given us. And that's what this particular video is about, is on reasons to carry a knife. And there are different kinds. You know, my Swiss Army knife goes a lot of places with me. Hopefully, you can still hear the mic. I think I bumped it. Excuse me, made it turn loose. Now, for some reason, there are people out there that look at something as simple as a slip joint pocket knife, and somehow or another their mind turns it into one of the tools and weapons that we use for war. And you know, these do serve their purpose. You got to fight for what you believe in. You got to fight for anything you want to keep in this world. So there are tools or knives that are specifically made to be weapons. This is one of them. There are many others. But this was never meant to be a weapon, and nor was the Swiss Army knife. I mean, they can be weaponized. We're humans. We can weaponize anything. We can like sticks and stones. You know, it's so if we can weaponize sticks and stones, we can certainly weaponize any cutting edge. But the whole point of this video is to try to give reasonable reasons to carry a knife. Why I always have one on me. And part of it is because, like I said, I'm a writer. The pens I come in or the pens that I buy are always in theft-proof packaging. Even the disposable ones like this that are the metal barreled ones. SD cards, they always come in this theft-proof packaging. You're not going to just tear into that with your teeth. It's a good way to need a dentist if you do. Thumb drives that I store the videos on long enough to get them to my producer so that he can put them on our channel. All of that comes in theft-proof packaging that you can't just open with your hands. It requires some kind of tool. Now, in an office environment or a home environment, you know, people have scissors. That makes sense. I'm almost never in an office, and when I'm at home, I'm mostly relaxing. When I need this stuff is when I'm out working in the field, and I'm going to carry a knife in my pocket, not a pair of scissors, because the pocket knife is much safer than some random pair of scissors in my pocket. So we're going to go from here to a few other places, because it was children actually that started me carrying knives of the multi-tool type, like the Swiss Army knives, or one-handed knives like I have in my first aid kit. And the reason why I like the one-handed knives isn't just because they can be, you know, open quickly one-handed. It's because the way they are designed, they can be opened easier two-handed if you're injured and your hands are cold or you're fatigued and you're trying to get it open. It's safer to open something like this than it is some of the ones that have the little bitty tiny nail nicks. So for the first aid kit, I went with, the one-hand trekker. But, if you've watched the channel, you know that I have a lot of different knives, a lot of fixed blade knives. I'm a fixed blade person. When I'm out in the field, especially when I'm in an urbanized environment, the SE3 that I talk about a lot is always with me when I'm out conducting urban survival experiments or studying the urban environment at all. But even when that's not with me, I try to never leave home without just a basic pocket knife. If you're a television fan, Gibbs rule number 9, never leave home without a knife. One of my favorite philosophies that I've ever found come out of Hollywood. But we'll go from here and go to some other places. There are hardware stores, toy stores, auto parts stores. There's a lot of places where small pocket knife makes life a lot easier and a lot more civilized. And then here we are at another place that gives me lots of reasons to want to or need to carry a knife to make my life simpler. Hardware store. This one is one of my favorites. This is the Ace on Signal Mountain, and I'm here quite often. And going into the holiday season, right now I'm here for a couple of different things. One of them is a wireless doorbell so that I can be sure to hear people and when they arrive. If I've got my head up in an attic or in a closet digging out things, I want to be able to hear people when they get here. And timers, just so that I can set up my lights on a timer so that I don't have to worry about turning them on and off. As a single dad who works multiple jobs, everything I can do that simplifies my life is helpful. So as you can see, all of this is in pretty heavy duty theft-proof packaging, especially the doorbell. I guess people steal a lot of doorbells, I don't know. But I know they use a lot of theft-proof packaging at hardware stores and the other stores. More stores to come. But I'm not going to chew into this packaging with my teeth, and I'm not going to try to claw into it with my claws. I'm going to use what my forefathers developed, one of the tools that separates us from the other creatures on the earth. The cutting tool, the basic cutting tool. This is just essentially the modern take on the old stone shard or the old bronze blade. This is just the evolution, the refinement of it, so that you can cut into the tool and cut into the packaging. And it's kind of funny how people can look at this and say, that's threatening. I don't know. I think the tire tool here in the back of the Jeep would be a lot more threatening than this, but that's just my perspective. I want to try to help people understand why our forefathers developed these tools to make our lives better and for us to have a better quality of life. So from here we'll go on to the next store and we'll see how many examples of theft-proof packaging in different areas of our lives I can find. This is another place that is the reason for me carrying a knife always, especially during the Christmas season or birthdays. Mountaintop Toys, my favorite toy store for as long as I can remember. And so many brick and mortar stores have fallen to the wayside in our modern world, and I like to support the ones that I can still walk into. I want to keep them there. I want to hang on to them as long as I can just like the one I work at, I like to support actual physical brick and mortar stores, mom and pop businesses in every way I can. Restaurants, retail stores, whatever. But it was toys for the younger children, and in this case, not so young. This is for my 9-year-old grandson. But, when they require assembly and they require batteries, and especially when it's a moving toy like that, the batteries, are sealed into a compartment. So I always, had the knife to cut into the packaging, but then the screwdriver to do the assembly or to install the batteries. So, this is just one more of the many reasonable reasons to carry a knife, and hopefully I can offset some of the Hollywood and video game nonsense that have influenced people into, thinking knives are strictly weapons, and they're not. And they didn't start out as weapons. They started out as tools, just like this one. It's just, some people can weaponize whatever they get their hands on. But the tool itself is just a tool. And so we've gone to the hardware store and to the toy store. I have a couple more stores to go to, and we will wrap this up. But you can see why I always, well, I shouldn't speak in absolutes. As a writer, I know this, so almost always have a knife on me. But it's closer to always than it is almost always. People who know me well know this. But so let's wrap up here and then on to the next one. Earlier in the video, we went into one of the reasons to carry a knife being theft-proof packaging and being difficult to open. And this one is another reason for carrying knives. It's difficult to open for a different reason, though. These are the hot hands, and it's tear-proof because it's meant to be air-proof, because hot hands are air activated. So if they had a tab on them to make them easy to tear, it tore open, then it would be activated and it would be useless in the future. So they have a very small margin all the way around the packets inside, and the best way to open them is to just take a knife and cut right up the top and then tear it the rest of the way with your fingers, so you don't risk cutting the packet inside, because this little packet, that's how you activate it. It needs oxygen. So it's kept in a very tight package that's airproof and tearproof. So just one of many reasons to carry a knife, especially, you want to keep a knife in your cold weather kit for this particular reason. That's one of the reasons I brought this in here, is I keep a one form of knife or another everywhere I have hot hands. Sometimes it's a Swiss Army knife, sometimes it's a small fixed blade knife, but there's always a knife in my cold weather kit so that I can open the hot hands, because they don't tear well with your teeth. You can do it, but it's also a good way to need a dentist. So hopefully that gives some of the people who are questioning why would anyone want to carry a knife some food for thought and some ideas why they might want to have a knife in their life. For me, it's an everyday thing. I wake up in the morning, I get ready to go. Before I leave, I have my pen, some form of small light, my watch, and a knife. Always. Those four things go with me pretty much wherever I go. And another reason, it's maybe somewhat of a sarcastic reason for carrying a knife, as my friend Steve likes to say, because shooting my steak into pieces at a restaurant when the supplied steak saw is too dull to cut the meat is really not a viable option. And most of us at this point, I think, EDC sidearms. And that's another reason to carry a knife. If you do find yourself in a firefight for whatever reason, you may need to, if you don't have a tourniquet on you, or if more than one person needs a tourniquet, you may need to improvise a tourniquet, so you need to be able to cut the cloth quickly so that you can make a field expedient tourniquet. But thank you for stopping in. Thank you for watching this video. That just goes into the reasons to EDC some kind of small pocket knife. Obviously, there are different reasons to carry larger knives later on. There's tactical knives for, combat and war. There's hunting knives for hunting. There's bushcraft knives for crafting bush. There are, Swiss Army knives, the big ones like this one, the Ranger. One of the reasons I carry it is because it has an exceptionally large saw, and paired with a good bushcraft knife, or a good fieldcraft knife, then I can make trap triggers very easily and make fish traps and make various different utensils in the woods, and that comes in handy. There are more specialized knives with different textures on the pommels, where this one of the reasons I keep it in my urban survival kit is because I can use it in chisel fashion without the whatever baton I'm striking with glancing off the pommel because of the texture. I had to do that once before, and using a different type of knife, I ended up with a permanently rearranged knuckle on the left forefinger. So that's it for this video. Thank you for stopping in, checking it out. Next time I'm going to get into one that's, speaking of all these knives, it'll be on the pros and cons of different handle materials like cord wrapped or craton, or leather, phenolic, micarta, all of them. I'm going to go into the pros and cons of different handle materials in different times of year here in our temperate rainforest, and that can apply into other areas as well. So, and then after that, I'm working on a review of some of the Nextorch flashlights. You may have seen the video where we started carrying Nextorch in the store, so I'm working on reviewing a few of those. There's a few of these I really, really like, even ultraviolet for hunting scorpions in the woods. Or not necessarily hunting them, but trying to identify them in camp if they happen to be there. But sometimes for hunting them, it's cool to be able to show students and show my kids that scorpions fluoresce. So that's another upcoming video. So stop in and see what we got going on next time. Till then, you guys have a wonderful day and be blessed and be safe, and keep on keeping on.